Okay, so we're here with Metalshop TV at Brutal Assault, and we've got here Paul from the Cannibal Corpse. So Paul, how are you doing tonight?
Doing well, thanks, man.
Are you going to see any other bands today?
Probably see a few. You know, right now just kind of relaxing. You know, we've been on tour for so long. You know, so it'd be cool to see Creator. I know they play right after us, so I'm sure I'll be able to watch some of them. You know, that's definitely the band I was looking forward to the most.
This is Extreme Festival, and there are playing like 100 of extreme bands, and you are headlining the whole thing. So how does it feel?
I mean, it's amazing, really. It's a great festival. It's a good celebration of, like you said, brutal extreme music. You know, to have a full festival just catering to death metal and, you know, primarily, of course, is awesome. So, yeah, I mean, it's great to, you know, to be one of the final bands, to be headlining, so to say, or what have you. It's, you know, it shows a lot about Cannibal Corpse, you know, what we've been through and where we're at this point in our career. And, you know, like I said, this festival is just, it's great to have such a good mix and just a bunch of brutal bands. So we're very fortunate. We're happy to be here.
Speaking of festivals, we've just heard that Mayhem Festival in USA was completely cancelled. Why do you think there's such an extreme difference between European festivals, which are kind of successful, and the US scene, where they're kind of struggling?
It's really a different thing. Obviously, over here in Europe, you have these weekend festivals, and there's a lot of them. You don't really have that much in the United States. You know, you have the Maryland Death Fest, you know, which is kind of, you know, the European way, a weekend thing, I guess. But yeah, most of the U.S. tours that happen, say, during the summer are the things like Warped Tour or Mayhem, you know, where they're traveling festivals that play every day in a different city, you know. You know, it's hard to really say, but I mean, you've seen everything, I'm sure, read everything online. You're kind of looking, you know, we're doing the same thing, reading what we, you know, what we see, and I mean, it just looks like this year it wasn't strong enough to be, you know, to the masses. I mean, in the United States, metal is very big, of course, but I think having a band like Slayer headline Mayhem, it seemed like it may be not the greatest, you know, idea. You know, for us, it's great. Slayer are our idols and our kings. So for them to headline Mayhem to me is like, well, that's amazing, that's great. But in the realistic whole scheme of, you know, popularity maybe and record sales and all that, it was a downsize in a way. You know, when we played it 2 years ago, we were with, you know, Avenged Sevenfold are headlining, and Avenged Sevenfold are a huge band in America right now. So just in that, for that reason alone, there should be more people coming to the show to wanting to see Avenged Sevenfold. You know, there was Korn as well, and you had a great whole secondary stage and all this kind of a thing. You know, it was downsized this year. You saw the lineup and everything, but I mean, yeah, I think that was the big downfall. If they had a bigger band to headline, then maybe it would have been more successful. So, but we'll see what happens.
So, do you think for the promoters it's better to make a weekend festival than a traveling festival?
I don't know. I mean, it would be cool to have the weekend festivals. I mean, they work here in the Europe very well. So it is kind of weird that the United States hasn't gone that route yet, where you're having more just weekend festivals. I don't know why they don't do that, but it seems like it would be a good idea to do that.
Cannibal Corpse has sold literally millions of albums worldwide. Do you think there will be ever any other death metal band that will do the same thing?
George made a cameo. I hope, you know, I mean, I would hope that this is more of the beginning, you know. I mean, when you think about it, the whole scheme of music, in just heavy music it's been not been around a long time, is what I'm trying to say, you know. And obviously death metal is probably, you know, the newer genre compared to just say rock and roll or you know, anything. I think time will tell, but I think and as time goes on, yes, I would think there are going to be some bands. I hope, you know, that just going to, you know, prove that heavy music is here to stay, getting more popular, and hopefully get just, you know, beyond any of our expectations and the hugeness of it all, you know. And that may take years, that might take beyond our lifetime, but at least, you know, all we can do as Cannibal Corpse is do what we do, you know. Hopefully we've done the right thing to, I don't know, influence bands and fans or whatever, and I think we have. So, you know, that's all we can do, and hope that we've done our job to influence the next, you know, crop of group of musicians to kind of want to do what we've done, and then, you know, then it just keeps snowballing from there on. So, yeah, only time can tell, but I think it's in the infantile stages, like I said. So, you know, who knows? Maybe in 70 years, a band is, you know, a band like our style is actually selling millions of records on one record, you know, not just collectively throughout the world like we did, which is still an amazing feat. So I think it could only get better.
So do you know any young band that has a sort of potential to do that? I mean, death metal band or extreme metal band?
It's hard to say, man. I don't know. Maybe a band like Suicide Silence or something. I mean, you know, I don't know. I mean, I really don't. I'm so bad with the new bands that I don't really know, you know, who could be that band, I guess. But I you know, it's great to hear bands and see bands of, say, like Whitechapel that are doing really well, you know, that are very popular in the United States, selling a lot of records and being as extreme as they are, you know. So that's incredible to me, you know, because that, you know, wouldn't have happened 30 years ago, you know. I mean, when we started out. So, yeah, but we'll see what happens. I would hope that there's going to be some bands. I hope so, because, you know, I think the oversaturation of just, I don't know, it seems just so much, you know, not like it was when we started, where everybody knew, you knew the bands that were doing well and were successful and that you love. There's handfuls. Now there's just so much out there that it's tough. But I'm sure somebody will emerge, and, you know, like, and that's another thing. Hopefully, time will tell. We'll see what happens in the future.
So back to your tonight's performance. What can we expect from your show?
Just do our thing. I mean, I think at this point everybody knows, you know, we go up and we play. That's it. It's not a show per se. We're not about flashy lights and you know, pyrotechnics, all that kind of stuff. So we just go up and do our thing, you know.
I mean, like a set list wise, do you try to surprise your hardcore fans with maybe some stuff they didn't expect?
Well, that's the thing we've always done as well. We've never had. I mean, there's so many songs, obviously, and so many, and we try to represent all the albums always, you know. So that's going to be kind of nothing new as well, you know. It's not like, oh my gosh, they're playing an old song. Well, no, we always play old songs. It's just a matter of what old song they are, you know. So I think we got so many songs that I think will please most of the people, but, you know, I'm sure a lot of people will say, oh man, they didn't play that, they didn't play this, they didn't play that. Well, we can only play so much. So yeah, nothing changes for us. I think like the same thing at this point in our career. We want to always represent, you know, all our records and our whole career, basically. So of course we're always focusing maybe a little more on the new record, you know, but we're getting songs in from all eras, you know. Whether it's going to be a song you wanted to hear or not, you know, that I guess will be yet to be seen, but you know.
So one final question. Your last album came out last year. So what has been the response from the fans? And looking back, how are you satisfied with the result?
Oh, I mean, the response has been overwhelming. I mean, you know, I think a lot of the fans love the new record. I mean, we're huge fans of it. I mean, I feel that we always go into writing and recording to do our best job possible for that given moment, you know. So we feel that, hey, if we're really psyched about something, you know, about our music, then, and that's how we always felt and always acted, so we're hoping, well, hopefully the fans will too, you know. And that seems to be the sentiment for the most part, you know. And that's a good thing, you know, because we really worked hard on the last record, like we do on every record. But yeah, so it's going well. You know, we're happy for you know, be able to tour for that record and be all over the world and getting, like I said, the responses that we've been getting, super positive, which is great. So
thank you. Adam, Cannibal Corpse.
Disease will spread and cover the world. Mass insanity, the end of our time. Scavengers will eat the remains of man.